with pranams, Swami Advayananda ji, to inaugurate this symposium with his inaugural address. As I was already mentioning, Swamiji he has taught, actually it is traditional to talk about the status of any guru by mentioning how many times that guru did the adhyapana of a particular shastra. I met a scholar who was known to have taught the Parimala Vyakhyana of Madhva tradition. 30 rounds he has done. So people talk about that. So when we talk about Swami Advayananda ji also, we have to mention how many rounds of teaching of Brahma Sūtra-s he has done. So he has done several rounds of such Brahma Sutra teaching. He is the president of Chinmaya International Foundation and as a trustee of the Chinmaya Vishwavidyapeeth. Swami Advayananda was inspired by the teachings of the visionary saint Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda and joined Sandipani Sadhanalaya, Mumbai, the Gurukula of the Chinmaya mission, at a young age of 18 in 1992. On completing his Vedanta course at the Sandipani, he was obtained into the dedicated spiritual life by Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda. Later in 2003, he was initiated into the sacred order of Sannyasa by Pujya Guruji Swami Tejomayananda. Presently, Swamiji is serving as the president of Chinmaya International Foundation and as a trustee of Chinmaya Vishwavidyapeeth. After initially serving the Chinmaya mission centers at Kodaikanal and Trichy in Tamil Nadu, Swamiji guided the spiritual and cultural education at the Chinmaya International Residential School, Coimbatore, from 1996 to 2000. Thereafter, in the year 2000, he became Acharya of the Sandipani Vidya Mandir at Coimbatore and conducted the Vedanta course in Tamil and English. Since 2003, he has been serving at CIF. Between 2011 and 13, he was Acharya for the 15th Vedanta course at Sandipani Sadhanalaya, Mumbai. He also served as the Acharya of a one-year residential Vedanta Sadhaka course at Adishankara Nilayam in 2021 and 21-22. Pranams, Swamiji.
Hari Om, Nagarajji, Hari Om, Hari Om. Thank you. So I'll just start with a small prayer, right?
Yeah.
Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. First of all, I'm very, very happy to be present here for this very unique symposium, Art and Science of Sūtra-s. It's a very interesting topic. They have brought art and science also in connection with the Sūtra-s. It is very, very nice. And as I see, then you have a very, very strong and also a young panel of very, very exemplary academicians and scholars presenting on various facets and topics of the Sūtra-s. Also various Nyaya Sutra, then Vedanta Sutras, then you have Parani Sutras, and also Sutra literature pertaining to Vyakarana of Andhra. It is a well thought of and well structured symposium. I'm very, very happy to be present here and give the inaugural address. For any darshana or shastra, which is coming under the broad fold of Indian knowledge systems, the very basic foundational axioms are presented in a very, very short and concise manner. And this literature is called a sutra. So I repeat again, the basic foundational axioms of every darshana or shastra coming within the broad ambit of Indian knowledge systems, that those foundational principles, the foundational ideas and concepts are all presented in the form of short axioms. And these axiomatic statements, when Professor Nagarajji was speaking, he mentioned about various other subjects also where sutras are presented. One can also consider this way. If you just take any subject, for example, even Max or, say Max, for example. So after the discussions on all those things, they would like to present it in a very concise manner. They would say cos squared theta plus sin squared theta is equal to 1. So they try to summarize, they try to bring out the essence. They try to present it in an axiomatic manner. Now, you also take, let us say, even the physics, or finally we say, what is Einstein's theory of relativity? Whatever we say, and then we say, then when we want to say how actually it is, what is it? You would like to, you say E is equal to mc squared, F is equal to ma. So the knowledge is trying to, they try to encapsulate it in a very, very short manner. This kind of encapsulations, of course, there you have representations. F, you have M, each one standing force, then mass. You have representation. Cos stands for certain things. Like that, there is some representations. In the sutra literature, what they do is that they try to use the words that we have rather than representations. I say representations because if you see even chemistry, you will have such kind of statements, like where they have formulas, right? So they say K1O4 plus H2SO4 is equal to K2SO4 plus M1SO4 plus H2O plus O2. You will see these kind of formulations. They have some resemblance to the sutra, not exactly. Why? Because not exactly, because sutra is little more structured, well organized, and there is a logical thought flow. So many things are involved in that. And the sutras do not have representations. You have words themselves. The words will have certain connotations, and then you bring them together, and then you present it in a very, very short, concise, axiomatic manner. The purpose of sutra is to string together ideas. That is why the word sutra also is used. The word sutra, we all know, is thread. What does a thread do? The thread ties, brings together. If you take flowers, what does a thread do? It strings together the flowers and makes it a beautiful garland. So various ideas are strung together and they come together as easy to carry knowledge capsules. And that is a sutra. Together ideas, I cannot but refer to Acharya Adi Shankaracharya, Bhagavan Bhashyakara Adi Shankaracharya statement. Vedanta Vakya Kusuma Gratarartatvat Sutranam. He states what is the purpose of the sutra. Of course, he is talking with respect to the Vedanta Darshana, and therefore, what is the purpose of the sutra? Referring to the Brahma Sutra, he is talking. He says, Vedanta Vakya Kusuma. Kusuma is a flower. The Vedantic statements, the Upanishadic statements, the Upanishadic thoughts, they are all like flowers. And what does the sutra do? The sutra ties them all up. Ties them all up means what? Does not tie things, haphazardly here and there. Strings them all together to give a very comprehensive idea, to give a very comprehensive knowledge. And this, it becomes the purpose of the sutra, right? And sutras by themselves also, because they do this very, very subtle thing. of bringing various concepts together in a certain format by which the whole knowledge is comprehensively presented. It's a very, very subtle art. And since you see the sutras do have this kind of function to comprehensively present the entirety, therefore, as it brings about a very profound comprehension, a deep comprehension, and therefore the sutras are very contemplative in nature. That is how you have another reference to the sutra or a definition of sutra. Suchanat sutramityahu. Suchana, they indicate for you. They have a lot of message for you, but how do you get out that message? By deep contemplation upon it, by deep study, by deep reflection upon it. All those internal messages, they come out. In the tradition, we have a very well-known, in fact, well-known definition of sutra. Actually, the source of this definition is not known. It is very ancient, because even Padmapadacharya, when he writes the commentary, on the Panchapadika, he states Paurānikaha. He refers to the Paurānikaha. What he means is that he says it has been coming, and he himself has seen it in the statements of the Paurānikas. So actually, the source who has authored this verse, what I'm going to say now, is not known, but it is very ancient. See the beauty of this verse, which defines sutra: Swalpaksharam, Asandigdham, Sāravat, Vishvatomukam, Astobam, Anavadyam, Sutram, Sutravido Viduhu. Those Sutravido Viduhu means those who are the expertise in sutra. How do they say? They define the sutra to have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characteristics. Swalpaksharam. Asandi, that is the first one. What is Swalpaksharam? Swalpaksharam is Mitaprayam Vachanam. Mitaprayam Vachanam means what? It has very few words. Made of a few words. No, please don't think made of few words should be 3, the sutra should be only 5 lines, 5 words, 6 words should be there. No, it's not like that. Very few words in the sense, when the concept is so vast, when the ideas which have to be comprehended are so large, what does a sutra do? Compared to whatever is the concept, you see, sometimes the sutra can also be very big. So sometimes you have Purva Sutras that are big, or even Parani Sutras, you find it can be big. Big does not mean it is actually large. When you compare to the concept, the ideas which are presented by the sutra is able to capture that entirety in very few words. Okay, so that way you find Swalpaksharam. So Mitaprayam Vachanam. Now the next lakshana which should be there along is Asandigdham. Asandigdham means what? Samshaya Rahityena Artha Prakashanam. Samshaya Rahityena Artha Prakashanam. Meaning, there should not be, when you present that, because I want to have a sutra, I do in such a manner that there is riddled with so much of confusions and doubts. No, it should be clear, unambiguous, and should not give way to an interpretation which is against the vision of that darshana or that shastra. Now, this is asandigdham. In other words, it is not ambiguous. So, Swalpaksharam, asandigdham, Sāravat. Sāravat means what? Sāravatvena artha abhidhanam. In other words, it captures the essence of the topic under discussion. But Sāra should be there. Vishvatomukam, having multiple facets. Having multiple facets means what? Having multiple valid facets. In other words, the sutra may, when required, be interpreted to give more than one valid, that valid is important there, more than one valid interpretation. As a reference, you can even take that famous sutra, Shankaracharya, he refers to that, he describes, he explains the sutra, Shastra Yonitvat, in two ways. So, Shastram Yonihi Yasya. Yonihi, both ways he takes. One is Tatpurusha, another is the Bahurihi. In both the ways. In one, when he says Shastram Yonihi Yasya, it answers the question, the earlier question, whatever question is there, and then it answers saying that Shastram Yonihi Yasya. So when you say Shastram Yonihi Yasya, for the Shastra is a means for that. Shastra is the Shastra has got its cause. Another way he says Shastra-s Yonihi. So Shastra-s Yonihi means what? That which is the pramana for the Shastra. Shastram Yonihi Yasya. Shastram Pramanam Yasya. Shastra-s Yonihi. So both way you can look at it. In one of it comes as pramana. In another of it comes as karana. In other words, Vishwato Mukam refers to what? Vishwato Mukam refers to two valid interpretations which is possible. Then you have Astobham. Astobham is what? Devoid of redundant words which are usually used for eology. Where Vyartha, Apartaka, Shabda Rahityam. So the words which do not actually require to go to give that final understanding, that is not there. Your words which are not essentially giving the meaning, which have got eologistic kind of things, those things are not there. Anavadyam vakye vakyarte va dosha rahityam. Devoid of errors such as grammar, the sentence construction, sentence meaning, these kind of errors are not there. In other words, the Sutra is precise and elegant. In its precision, it is scientific, it is science. And in its elegance, it is an art. So thus, when precision and elegance come together, and then comprehensively mix together all the essential ideas of that certain topic, then such a sentence is called Sutra, and such a literature is called as Sutra literature. Now this whole thing, what we discussed, Swalpaksharam, Asandigdham, if I have to say in a proper line, in a proper statement where you get the whole thing, I could say like this: the term Sutra is defined as that which consists of minimal words, Swalpakshara, enshrines in itself the essence of the entire subject, Saravat, is free of ambiguity, Asandigdha, bereft of unnecessary words, Astoba, and erroneous terms, Anavidya, and which gives scope to multiple valid meanings, Vishwato Mukha. So thus, you have this whole sutra with this kind of lakshana. Okay. Now, when the topic given to me is that sutra is the very foundation of all aspects of Indian knowledge systems, all darshana, all shastra. Now, with the sutra as a basis, you find a complete literature for every darshana or every shastra. So usually what happens is that the sutra will have a bhashya. That is then you have the bhashya literature. So you can say on the sutra stands the bhashya. Okay. Now bhashya has got tika. On the bhashya there's a tika. So on bhashya stands a tika. So you have a sutra, then you have a bhashya, and then you have a tika. Now bhashya will also have a definition. Sutrartho varnyate yatra padaihi sutranu saribihi swapadani cha varnyante bhashyam bhashyavido viduhu. So here again, how does the Bhashya go about? The Bhashya explains the meaning of the sutra with words which follow the structure of the sutra. For example, Atatu Brahma Jignasa. So first Atha would be taken, then Ataha would be taken, Brahma Jignasa, and that Brahman will be taken, Jignasa would be taken. In this way, according to the sutra, according to the words, and not and when it gives an explanation, not only it explains the words of the sutra, but its own explanation is also further explained. So padani cha varniyante. This is called as Bhashya. Now what does the Tika do? The Tika gives further clarity in such a way that the entirety of the sutra is also clarified and the Bhashya is also clarified. Tikyate, gamyate, pravishyate, gyayate va grantaha, anaya, sa tika. That is a tika. So you have the sutra, you have the Bhashya, and then you have a tika. Then what happens is that there is a completeness in the presentation. Can also have a vritti. Sutrasya artha vivaranam vrittihi. Sutra itself by itself can also have a short kind of presentation of the meaning that becomes vritti. Now on vritti stands vartika. Vrittim vedayati iti vartikam. So the vritti is explained by vartika. Also, Vartika also has got a little more, what can I say, a little more larger ambit of function. Now that is explained, you have a beautiful definition of it. Ukta, Anukta, Durukta. So whatever, Ukta is what is stated. Anukta is what is not stated. Durukta is also what could be stated little more better. Suppose you have a sutra and then you have a bhashya, and then the explanation which goes to provide clarity on the sutra, it mentions it ukta, it explains certain things. Therefore, the Vartika explains that also. Anukta, something which the commentator does not explain, also it brings to explanation. And then also what? And then also suppose there is something which the commentator mentions in a certain manner, which you feel can be said and expressed in a better way, or you have an opinion, you have an idea, which is slightly maybe not very contradictory, but slightly little different. In Vartika, you have the freedom to present that. In other words, what we have to see is that there is tremendous scope for explanation of the sutra at various levels. At the level of the Bhashya, at the level of the Tika, at the level of Vritti, at the level of Vartika. So that way, if you see, the sutra becomes a foundation for such a elaborate presentation of the darshana, the Shastra. Thus, the sutra remains a very foundation of the entire knowledge scheme. And that is why rightly it is said the sutra is the foundation of every aspect, of every darshana, of every shastra which comes under the broad ambit of Indian knowledge systems. And therefore you will find every aspect of our tradition has got sutra. So you have Vyakarana also sutra, then you have Vyakarana, of course, Panini Sutra is very famous. Chandas will have the Chandas Sutra of Pingala. Nirukta has got the Niruktam of Yaska. Kalpa will have so many Shauta Sutra, Grihya Sutra, then Dharma Sutra, then Shulba Sutra, so many. Then Mimamsa, of course, is the famous Jaimini Sutras, Purva Mimamsa Sutra. Vedanta, which is the Upanishad, the Uttara Mimamsa has the Brahma Sūtra-s. Nyaya Vaisheshika have their own sutras, the Nyaya Sutras of Gautama, the Vaisheshika Sutra of Kanada, the Sankhya Sutras of Kapila. In other words, what I want to say is that every aspect, every darshana, every knowledge facet of Indian knowledge systems will have sutra. Even such, for example, Shilpa will also have sutras. Shilpa Sutras are there, meaning meaning sutras are the very basic foundation of the entire system. Now, this is not only with respect to, for example, we spoke of these Astika Darshanas, even the Nastika. Even the Nastika, when I mean, is that those who don't accept the Vedas as their means of knowledge, even they have Sutra system. When you say Indian knowledge systems, everything comes under there. The Bauddha Darshana has got the entire Sautrantika school also solidly bases itself, the Bauddha school, right? Now, now when you look at the arrangement of sutras, especially when you look at the Purva-mīmāmsa and Uttara-mīmāmsa, the sutras come together and then you have what is called as a adhikarana. That is see, when we have sutras, they come together and then what you have a adhikarana. Now, adhikarana is again a technical term, and when we say adhikarana, it is a complete analysis of that aspect or concept. Now, for example, in the Purva-mīmāmsa, you have Sahasra Adhikarana. The sutras are arranged together in 1000 adhikaranas. Now, each adhikarana is kind of, you can say, is a topic. It's a topic by itself. It's a complete topic by itself. Within the main darshana, you have many topics which add on to give completeness to the whole darshana or the whole Shastra. This coming to the sutras to create that topic is called as adhikarana. Of course, in adhikarana again, you have what is required to be in an adhikarana, what all things should be covered in adhikarana. So you should have what is the main, so you have Vishaya, then you have Samshaya, then you have Purva-paksha, then you have Uttara, that is the Siddhanta, and then you have the Sangati. So in this way, Panchanga is there, the 5 limbs are there. Vishayo Samshayashchaiva, Purva-pakshas tatottaram, Sangatishchaiva Panchangam, Sutra, Shastre Adhikaranam Smrutam. So this becomes Adhikarana. So for example, let me take for example, you have let us say in Purva-mīmāmsa. So I can show you how, for example, in Purva-mīmāmsa it works. Let me take for example a sutra, say the Śāstra-yonitva adhikarana. Okay, so you have the Atato Brahma Jignasa first sutra, Jignasa adhikaranam. Then you have Janmadhyasthayataha, Janmadhyadhikaranam. Then you have the Shastra-yonitva adhikaranam, Shastra-yonitvat. And then you have the Samanvaya adhikaranam with Tattu Samanvayat. So you and then what happens now? Each adhikarana will have the whole thing. And remember, when we say the sutras come together to form adhikarana, sometimes the sutra itself may be so potent that it can communicate the entire adhikarana. That is also there. That is why you find these sutras, you see there is only one sutra in each adhikarana. Now you take, for example, the Shastra-yonitva adhikarana. Now Vishaya, what is the Vishaya? What is the topic? What is the topic being inquired into? The topic being inquired to is such statements of the Upanishads such as Tam tu Upanishadam Purusham Prichami. Okay? I inquire into that Purusha, that supreme reality, which is expounded through the Upanishads. So this is the topic which is going to be discussed in this adhikarana. Now what is the doubt there? Brahma, Upanishad Vedyam, Anumana Vedyam va. This Purusha, what you are talking, this Brahman, is it really speaking only known to the Upanishads? Is it not possible to be known through such means of knowledge such as Anumana? Now there is a doubt. So you have the Purva-paksha. And the Purva-paksha is necessarily a person who has the other opinion which is contradicting what the Siddhanta, the Shāstra-s opinion is. So what the Purva-paksha? Brahma Anumana Vedyam, Brahma Anumana Vishayam. Brahma can be the object, the Purusha is object of Vishaya to Anumana. Why? Jagat Karanatvat. Already it has been spoken that Brahman is Jagat Karana, And therefore, if it is Jagat Karana through inference, with the Jagat, with the help of Jagat, you can track out the Purusha. Yatra yatra dhumaha tatra tatra vakhnihi. Right? So the Jagat is there. With the help, you can comprehend the nature of Brahman, Sarvagnya, Sarvashakti, etc. You can comprehend. Now Siddhanta to say Brahma na anumana vedyam. Okay? Brahma is not Brahman. You can have an inkling about Brahman, but you can never know Brahman through Anumana. And why is that? Now you see how the sutra is presented. Shastra yonitvat. Right? So that is the actual sutra. Shastra yonitvat. You see the Panchami is coming there. Meaning, other words, this is the hetu. In other words, in every adhikarana, you have the sutra, you will have a sutra which will necessarily state what is the hetu, what is the cause for a certain decision of the Siddhanta. That decision of the Siddhanta, that decision, what is the reason because of which such a decision is taken? Shastra yonitvat. Because Shastra is the pramana. Shastra is the pramana to know Brahman. Of course, example dharmavat, like the udaharana is also given. In other words, the sutra of adhikaranas, the sutra which is there, will have to communicate what is the cause, what is the reason for a certain conclusion for the Siddhanta which is presented in the adhikarana. That is why many times they ask why is a sutra presented in the form of as a hetu, as a cause, as a reasoning. It is because of this reason. So we have seen how the sutra, what is the definition of sutra we have seen. We have also seen how it is based on the sutras, the entire literature which goes on to give completion to the entire Shastra or Darshana, Bhashya, the Tika, then the Vritti, meaning even other texts like Vartika. Then you also have Deepika. So many kinds of ways of texts are there. All of them you will find that they have their source, their root in their foundation in the sutra. That is why a sutra is a very foundation. It's a foundational literature also. Then we also saw how the sutra, especially in Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa, we took the example of Vedanta Shastra. We saw also how the sutras, they represent, they can be arranged to form a adhikarana, and adhikarana is a topic. Therefore, the sutras all come together to become topics, and finally all the topics add together and give completion to the whole Vedanta, whole Darshana. For example, Sahasra Adhikarana we said in Purva Mimamsa. For in Vedanta Shastra, in Brahma Sutra, you have 191 adhikaranas. So you can say that the Vedanta topic has got 191 topics. So this is how, but you see how the Brahma Sutra helps us to find out what are the essential topics of Vedanta. And these 191 topics, adhikarana, the sutras constitute to give clarity to each of these topics. So you can see how the sutra is a very foundation, right? Now when it has now since adhikarana is so important, because adhikarana is a topic, and every topic of the Shastra is covered, is taken through these adhikaranas one by one, and thus you have the whole Shastra also. Therefore, there are texts which especially takes the adhikarana. Remember, adhikarana also is based on sutra finally. We should remember that. There are texts which takes the adhikarana and discusses in detail. For example, you have Vayyasikya Nyayamala over the adhikaranas presented in the Brahma Sutra, right? So that way, really speaking, the sutra gives it remains a very foundation. Now, I would also like to speak on some one aspect. When we think of Indian-like systems, we have Sanskrit as a base and we talk. Really speaking, sometimes there is an opinion that, oh, so when you say Indian knowledge systems, it's only this kind of, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, or whatever you have, Vedanta, so on. What about the Tamil literature? In Tamil also, sometimes they say this is different. We are very, very different. We have nothing. No, we are totally. Really speaking, the whole Indian knowledge systems is one integrated whole. And such a thing is not actually there. I would now like to explain to you how in Tamil there is a definition of Sutra. This is from the famous text Nannul, many thousands of years back. Probably, I'm not be able to tell what are the, what, when and all. You see the definition of Sutra there. There is a very beautiful example which is taken in order to say how the Sutra is. What is the example? He says, just as how a mirror, okay, you have a mirror. What does a mirror do? The mirror is a small one, it's a small one. But what does a mirror do? The mirror is able to capture you entirely in that. Right? A sutra is like that. Now let me read the line for you exactly how the Nannul Acharya he defines sutra. Silvagai எழுத்தில் பல்வகை பொருளை செவ்வன் ஆடியின் சிரித்து இனிது விளக்கி திப்ப நுட்பம் சிறந்தன சூத்திரம். This is how we define sutra. You can see the similarity very, very clearly with the Sanskrit definition. Silvagai எழுத்தில் பல்வகை பொருளை. In a few words, letters, able to capture many meanings. Okay. We remember while we defined sutra, we spoke of Svalpaksharam Vishvato Mukham. Now, the example you see, Sevan Adiyin Siritu. Adi is Kannadi, Adi is the mirror. How the mirror is able to capture, how the mirror is able to hold very beautifully whatever it is reflecting. Inidu Vilaki. Tippa Nuppam Chirandana Sutiram. Tippa is got clarity. The Tippa is a clarity, Asandigdam. Nuppam is got lot of subtle inner wealth. That Suchanat Sutram and all those things. Chirandana Sutram. Now, again, how does the sutra function? You see, here again you have a very beautiful sutra in Nannul, which describes it. It says, Atru Ulku, the Acharya says that the sutras function in 4 beautiful ways. Atru Ulku is the flow of a river. Atru Ulku is flow of river. How the sutras can join one after another and give a complete coverage very, very lucidly. That is Atru Ulku. Next is Arima Nokam. Arima Nokam is Arima is Simha. So Arima Nokam is the way the lion sees. What do you mean way the lion sees? See, the lion, when it walks, it walks straight looking forward, but stops for some time and looks back. And then again it walks. This is called Simhavalokanam. So in that way, sutra moves forward and then also looks backward, trying to bring those ideas also, whatever required in its movement and flow. Arima Nokam. Then Tavalai Paitu is frog. Tavalai Paitu is what? The sutra can jump from concept to concept. That is another way the sutra can be. Then Parundin Vilvu. This is another way the sutra works. So if you take a Parund is an eagle. What does the eagle do? The eagle chooses its target and comes directly and falls upon its target. In the same way, the sutras can also function in this way. It just focuses upon one and then brings to your attention that in completeness. Annat Sutra Nilai. This is the way the sutra also functions. Now, I have also shown you we have seen the Sanskrit definition. Now you also saw the Tamil definition of Sutra, ancient definition. You also saw how the Sutra functions in the way that the Acharyas of the Tamil literature have described. Now remember, Sutra is not only in these kind of areas of knowledge, like whatever we have seen, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, all these darshanas. Sutras also, it pervades the Indian knowledge systems in a very large way. For example, even the have the famous Narada Bhakti Sutra. Then you also have the Shandilya Bhakti Sutra. So Bhakti literature also have their foundation as sutras. And when you look at the sutras, and we think of sutra, we always consider that sutra some ancient author, some ancient person, rishi has composed sutra. But really speaking, sutra literature is even now an existent literature. What I mean by even now an existent literature is that wherever sutras are required, even now acharyas are creating those kind of sutra literature. I can, from my experience, I know a few who have created the sutras. I shall share with you. You can also see, how it is. Pujya Swami Tejo Mananji was the earlier head of the Chinmaya mission. He has created sutras for the entire Ramacharitra Manasa in Sanskrit. The sutras are in Sanskrit, and that is Manasa Bhakti Sutram. It starts from Atha Sri Ramacharita Manasanusarini Bhakti Vyakya. That is how he starts the first sutra there. Also, there is one more text which is composed in the form of sutras, is Jivana Sutrani. Jivana Sutrani is on happy and intelligent living. This is also very, very interesting sutra literature, and it starts with Ata Jivana Sutrani Prastuyate. Now, recently also, I also came across, we have the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, right? So the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, how to get the entire chapter into one sutra. So you have 18 chapters. I have not come across earlier, before I had not come across a sutra which can capture the entire chapter. All right. So here there is one Swami Pranava Chaitanya Puri who has brought out this Gita Sutra, 18 sutras. Now, for example, the first chapter, you see how he is to make a sutra. Atha Samikshanat Vishada Darshanat Mukti Jignasa. So this is the first sutra. Atha Samikshanat. So it refers to Arjuna, looking at the army of the Kauravas, Bhishma Drona Pramukataha. All right. So Samikshanat, Vishada Darshanat. Then he goes through, because of this Aham and Mama, the Shoka and Moha, he goes through Shoka and Moha, Vishada Darshanat. And that becomes what? That becomes the means for his liberation. That becomes the means how to come out of it. Mukti Jignasa. So there comes the inquiry into how to get rid of the shoka, that shoka which has got its root in moha. So you have this. So in other words, the sutra literature is not a dead, bygone literature. Even now, people with insight, masters with the contemplative capacities and thinking, put their attention to create such sutra literature which is of great value, which is of great validity, and thus the Indian knowledge systems have been nourished by sutra literature as a very foundation, and that by God's grace and the Lord's blessings shall continue. It's a thriving, alive, not just alive, but very strong system is our Indian knowledge systems. By the grace of the Lord, may this literature, may this continue to grow further and further on this on this very beautiful occasion when we have all come together for the symposium on the art and science of Sutra. You see, art because of its elegance, science because of its precision. So this combination of art and science with respect to the Sutra, which has nourished, I invoke the Lord's grace so that this symposium goes very beautifully, and I congratulate also the Indic Academy for bringing such an array of inspired young scholars symposium. Thank you all very much for giving this opportunity. My loving regards and best wishes. I also invoke the Lords for a lovely program, a lovely day ahead for all those who have joined to enjoy and benefit from this symposium. Thank you all very much.
Swamiji, the title is from Harikiranji. The words art and science and all those beautiful words are his words. The topic also is his choice only. All the credit goes to him. Thank you for coming and inaugurating the conference.
Thank you, Nagaraji. Thank you. Grateful.